Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Have you been good? Hope tipping is not getting to you. If you're in Nigeria, if you're abroad, send me dollars and pants. Okay, thank you very much for clicking watch. I'm super delighted that you're here. We have another episode of Career Conversations. Now you might wonder what that means. Career Conversation is a section of my video where I talk to professionals, get to know them beyond their job title. I know you know your friend's job title, but do you know what they do every day? That's what we discuss at Career Conversations. Beyond that, we also show how people can attain this great feat that my guests have attained, I guess. Today, I have someone who is very dear to me, my senior in uni. I feel like I should call her Senior Timi. My friend, my superstar. Hello, superstar. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm very well in my face.
Great. She's going for me. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm a bit tired, but I'm good.
Because it's rare to call you Faith.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So that's true. Okay, yeah. So I'm with my friend Temiloluwa. She is a manager at the Big Four. Am I supposed to introduce you, or do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to tell my fans who you are?
Okay. It depends on what you want.
Yeah. Just go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Temiloluwa. You can call me Timi for short, but I prefer Temiloluwa.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So one fun thing that I do here is I ask my guests to tell the audience what's one fun thing people don't know about them.
Okay, that's a very hard question, honestly. Every time people ask that question, I literally struggle to come up with something.
Because you're not fun. Because yes, guys, she spends her life going through documents.
Because when I say, when you say, what do you do for fun? And I say, I like to read novels, and people are like, who reads novels for fun? But
people do. So maybe not what do you do for fun. Maybe one fun thing. Maybe let me remove fun and replace it with random.
I'm not known for spontaneity.
How have you survived our friendship so far? I mean, I'm the spice in your life.
Yes, I'm very, what's the word now? I'm very reserved, really. So, it's not like I live by the books, but I'm just very put together and keep to myself.
Like a big four material.
Not necessarily. But it's a surprise to know that on my bucket list, that things I want to do would include skydiving and bungee jumping. It's just that in Nigeria, they say if you do it, you probably just be one.
Please, what's the HMO looking like? Are you on premium?
And I'm not ready to be the lab rat. Exactly. So when I did get the opportunity to travel out, I would definitely go skydiving or bungee jumping. Just something to just get that adrenaline.
Oh, pumping, right?
Yes.
Exciting. So when was the last time you did something that got your adrenaline pumping? Yeah, lady.
I'm telling you.
Oh, we need to spice up your life.
Okay, well, the train we had this, it was an activity, something like Simon says, you do the opposite of what you're saying. So it was really, you had to really focus. When they say clap, you have to
stand or stay still.
Yeah, so it really got me like, oh my God, I didn't want to be out of the game. It was really exciting. It was something that really got me. I was like, oh, so you can be this, you can pay attention at this.
Yeah, interesting.
Like your attention span can actually be sustained for something like this.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, interesting. But besides that, it's just mostly work, church, house.
That was I thinking you have changed from uni. Guys, context is that she was my senior in uni and this was what her life looked like. Church, courses, icon, everything.
Basically.
And she has not changed. We need to
I
need to do better.
I went for a few shows. I went for one Spirit of David dance, one time like that. Yeah. And then
in 4 years, Timi, 4 years.
It's a surprise that I never saw any of the Pelumi stage shows all through my 4 years as well.
Wow.
I never saw it for some weird reason.
First
and all the
class
times Davido, at the everyone came to school.
So you didn't meet Ashake in uni? We that went to watch Joa.
No, funny, I didn't meet him. I don't really like crowd actually.
I know that.
Like crowd, so.
Cool. Anyway, well, if you've been watching, I'm very sure that Timi is the opposite of what the guests that we bring in. So it's good to finally find someone you can connect with if you're an introvert or you're shy yourself person. At least you know that you're not alone now. Yeah. So let's get into career, economics to ICANN, like she said, you finished ICANN before you graduated, right?
Just about the same time. So before I went for service, I wrote my last paper. So when I went for service, that's when my results came out. I went for service in November, and my results came out, I think, December or early January. So it was about the same time.
Yeah, so walk us through that space into, I know you had a couple internships and before you got into Big Four, so walk us through the journey.
Okay.
Maybe major milestones, things that like.
Okay, so maybe let me just start from school. So I studied economics in school. Or I'd wanted to study accounting, but then I think at the time we were writing JAM, there was this.
Accounting is narrow, economics is wide.
Yes, his brother.
Did they bobo you too?
You can do so much with economics. You can work in any field. You can even work as an accountant.
See, guys, let me give you a sign of a bad course to study in Nigeria. You can do anything. You can do anything. You can work in anywhere. No, when they tell you those things, run away.
It's gonna stress you out. I will never forget that some things we did in economics. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why?
Someone reminded me of Jacobian theory very recently. Do you remember?
How do you want to forget?
I'm like,
and Slotsky and
oh my God, I did Jacobian theory. Wow.
The next thing was the game theory. I think
game theory was.
I think it was in my third year that I finally understood all those graphs we used to draw, and it was Dr. Adejuma that really explained when you're drawing demand
Shout
and
out to Dr. Adejuma.
Why your curve is downward sloping or up. Oh, you just be drawing. Oh, demand curve is all of us do like this. Sometimes curve is upward sloping. But just
marginal propensity to consume.
And it's not like I wasn't doing well, but we're just all
what's the
going
application
or the old motions. But I mean, I enjoyed game theory. Because,
I think your set was the last set that really got taught game theory. I think the lecturer now went on sabbatical. They now handed it over to this guy that does not know what he's doing with his life. Sorry.
I don't know that.
I know he will never watch this YouTube video. So
I don't know.
I'm not going to mention his name.
No names are mentioned. Whoever that is, well, I hope he now knows what he's doing with his life.
Amen.
Amen. So on getting to school, my parents were like, okay, even though you're doing economics, still don't throw away your passion for accounting. So I started with ATS in school. So I started with ATS 1, 2, 3, and then there was strike. So it gave me the opportunity to
just
attend classes, read, and do all of that. So by the time I was entering my third year, I was done with ATS. So I was now going to ICANN. So because I had done ATS, I got exemption from foundation. So I went to skills directly, and I got 2 other papers exempted in skills. So I wrote 4 papers in skills. And then in my final year, I was supposed to write my professional stage, but one of my exams was clashing with ECN 402 exam. So I had to miss that exam, because if I miss ECN 402, it's automatic extra year. So my parents were like, it's fine.
4 months.
Even though they've paid the exam fee, I should do my school examination, write it, and then we'll pay. So when I finished school, I had 2 papers left. There was corporate reporting and SFM. So I took tutorials after school.
SFM is something financial management.
I know those. Yeah, so just waiting on call-up letter for NYC. So all through the 5 months, I did the ICANN tutorials, and then I wrote my exam in November. I wrote in November before I went to NYC camp, thankfully. So I was available. While I was also waiting for service, I also interned at an accounting company, like an audit firm of some sort, or consulting, but not a Big Four anyway. But I intended just to at least get an idea of how the accounting world is auditing and all of that. But when I was in school, there was something I used to tell my friends, that I wanted to work in a Big Four. Even though I was studying economics, I was saying, I just want to work in a Big Four, the whole Big Four experience. So straight out of school, before I got this other internship, I'd applied to one of the Big Fours, but I didn't get in. But I didn't let that. I'm like, okay, it's one of those things, and I mean, I could do it again. So I went on to intern at this place, get all the skills and basic knowledge. Some of the things I ever learned really helped me in my ICANN exam, because one of the questions that they asked was something that I'd gotten used to when I saw it. I was like, oh, this thing, So it was like, just cast my mind back to all things I used to do at work, and I just was able to answer that question. So it was very interesting. Then I went for service, although I taught in a school, but I still looked for a company where I could just learn. So
apply your accounting skills. So I feel like that's a major learning. So sometimes when you are in a place where you don't want, you can volunteer to take up responsibilities
yeah.
that can...
It wasn't a paid role because I was serving, but I was just going there. What do you need me to do? Was it tax service? I mean, they do everything. They do tax, they do audits, all of those. I mean, the same persons are doing the same thing. So just, okay, what do you need me to do? Oh, you need me to go and file tax returns. I'll go to the tax office. I'll just do different things like that. I even made friends at the tax office, and they were even offering me, like, if you wanted to work with
the IRS
in the States, but I'm like, no, I'm not staying. I want to go to Lagos. But Ekiti State, by the way, and Ekiti State is the opposite of Lagos State, and I'd grown in Lagos State so all my life, except
I feel
for
like
school.
there is something
So
about you people.
it was a very it was a stark contrast to the life I was used to. It was close to Ife, but I know that even in Ife I felt like fish out of water, because then if I'm going home from school, the moment I get to the Long Bridge, I feel like a different person. I don't know if it's only me who experiences that.
Yeah, maybe.
But if I was reading something, I would just feel like, oh, yeah, still in. The moment I get to Long Bridge, I pack my books, put everything. I'm ready to like.
So always about to snatch my phone.
Exactly. I'm ready for the hustle and bustle of Lagos.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't want to stay in Ekiti. So I even got like even the what's the code? The Auditor General's office even offered me a job that I should stay back, and I mean, they're not. I mean, you probably know somebody that knows somebody. So going to the tax office, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's true.
And you're very, very smart. You're very polite,
savvy.
and very good girl. Like, I'm like, no, I don't want to stay back. Maybe I could have stayed back. But I mean, we would never know. So then coming back to Lagos, of course, when we finished NYC, everybody, most of my friends, they applied to banks because the banks were recruiting them.
Yes,
so
they're always recruiting.
As many banks as possible. I don't think there was really any, at least of the Fugas, I applied to all of them.
Fugas, by the way, is First Bank, UBA, Guaranteed Trust Bank,
yeah, Access Bank
and Zenith. Yeah. So yeah, Fugas.
Applied to Fugas, applied to other banks. Just applied, and then went. So I mean, in a day you can have like two different. You have a workforce, JKK. You just be going around. You see people. Yeah, you're like, oh, what did you do? It was just interesting. We're just going everywhere.
And it was pre-COVID, so it was fun.
Yeah, it was
Things
fun.
were not virtual.
Funny, you know,
people
for
are
me,
not complaining about video interview.
For me, I took it seriously, but for me, it felt like I was just bonding with everybody. Like, oh, so you did Stanley Bank, I did Stanley Bank. For me, I was just playing off, and because in my head, I'm like, I always work in a big four, but
all those things
whatever
were just things
it
in
takes
passing.
to get to the destination, it was a process. So no matter what,
I feel like you should say that again.
There was a process. I mean, the process to the end that I wanted, but in going through that process was also very important to not take it for granted or to take it with levity. Even as much as I was enjoying myself, I was also learning, getting to do certain tests, all the psychometric tests, learning patterns. These were things that I was just getting introduced to, doing all of those interviews and those job test applications. But eventually, when I had to do for this big 4 year, I'd had prepared you. Yes, I'd had like different exactly, like applying to more than 12 banks and doing all of those tests.
Did you say 12? Wow.
Like I said, it was an experience. I mean, so if you take like maybe like 15 persons that will be finished school at the same time,
they probably had something
they'll
similar.
Have the same thing.
Especially because you guys didn't serve in Lagos. So I think that's what happens. Because a lot of people served in Lagos and they got retained already.
Yeah,
and then you guys are coming from Ekiti or Kwara.
So all of us are just like, we don't want to stay back in this state. So the best thing is just apply. So we all just applied. So you're like, I know this. You could see like of your classmates, like, oh, I see you here. What time is your test? Oh, your own is 5 o'clock.
It's very interesting because I never experienced something like this.
So you just had that. Well, it felt like a mini reunion, seeing people, like seeing familiar faces and making new friends. So I got into one of the banks eventually, but I did 6 months training school and a bit of rotation before I resumed at the Big Four, where I currently work now. Moving to the Big Four. Of course, it was.
Don't worry, I have enough questions. Yeah, because I was going to, I always had plan, but like that's already like been fixed. So my next question was going to be like, what does every day look like? Actually, at beginner. Before I became manager.
Before I became a manager. Okay. Well, when I joined.
So people complain about the admin parts and then just the stress that you face as a beginner.
Okay, so when I joined, honestly, I think that life was better. I joined in 2019. So we had not had the great migration or the great
The
great resignation which happened post-COVID, which I believe. So like on a normal engagement when we're properly staffed, you probably had like everybody across the same grade level. So you're doing what is ideal for your grade level. So you're working on areas that they expect you to work on. And even if you're doing any extra activities, there's nothing that is so tasking. I mean, of course, you're working, so it is still stretching no matter what. But well, attitude also mattered anyway, because for me, I was just very excited to work in a Big Four. And I was working with a team that was very great. And the first major job I did, the team was it was a very great team. I keep on saying that for me, one thing that really stood out for me in my first year was relationship that I was able to build in that 1 year. Because I was able to get to speak with partners, directors, just everybody across all levels, ask questions.
So there's that level of accessibility?
Yes, yes. And we have an open door policy at my place of work, so you can walk in and talk to anybody and ask questions. Nobody would really shut you, except if they are in a meeting, of course, then you know that you have to wait. But nobody would really tell you to shut up or don't talk to me or go away. Everyone will answer your question as long as they have the answers to your questions.
The open policy, how does it work now post-COVID? Do people set time on calendar, etc., etc.?
So we do a bit of hybrid working style now, right? So you come in, depending on your unit and the need, you could come in like 3 times a week, and also depending on the time of the year. So there's something called busy season.
Yeah, I know.
So busy season, there's nothing except like I don't know if there's something happening that will make you work from home. You would most likely be working at either the office or your client's office.
Yes.
So busy season, everybody's at the office. But when
for context, guys, she's in audit, and we're going to get there soon. But
so
that's why she doesn't have a life.
I have a life now.
Sure.
See, I'm everywhere in ring.
Chop no good.
So, but when it's not busy season, people are going on exam leaves or annual leave, so they're less open in the office, so you can do like 3 times a week or 2 times, depending on the need for you to come into the office. But even with that, the open door policy still stays, because if they're in the office and a partner is around, or whoever you need to speak with, you can still go to meet with them. But in the event that you cannot come to the office, yes, now technology has made life easy, so you can set up calls, you can place a phone call, you can do Google calls or Teams as or Zoom. But Zoom is not really that. But if you need to do Zoom meetings, of course, you can do that.
Interesting. So I have a question. I feel like I know the answer, but I'm asking for the purpose of people that will watch this, that have a background in. So maybe I should make it 2 in 1: a background in finance, economics, accounting. But the first question I was going to ask was, like I said, I know the answer, but why audit? Especially given how strong I knew, guys, she was everywhere in school. And it's not everywhere because she was cramming and pouring. Everywhere because she knew what she was doing. She taught me say 201. It's next time I have A. I would see till I feel like when we get married, have children, we will keep saying that when we're having you. I keep saying that the only reason why I have A in the set 201 is because of this wonderful woman here. Yes. So given that you knew economics, and then even though yes you were doing ICANN and all, you could have easily still come back to finance, investment banking, investment research. So why did you sit with audit?
Why did I sit with audit? Okay.
Which is very stressful, by the way. I don't know.
Honestly, yeah. So, economics was very interesting for me. I really did love economics. Funny enough, and I'd always said if I wasn't going to get into a Big Four, I would just go like researcher, do economics, or maybe do investment banking, or just something finance related. Until tomorrow, if you still ask me and you say, if I'm taking away audits today, what do you want to do? I'll probably tell you something finance related, maybe like behavioral finance, or maybe not mainstream economics. No,
like very unique. I love that you mentioned behavioral, psychological, gender financing.
Around they are not mainstream economics. But for why audits? Initially, so what I said of the 3 arms, and no shade, but then they say, oh, accounting is audit, tax, and I can't remember or something like that. They will say, oh, audit was the hardest because
I agree. I support them.
and then they even tell you like, oh, you could be arrested if you do something, if you issue a wrong opinion. There was just this fear around, and I'm like, okay, what exactly is the this problem. Like they would even say stories about, we've had stories about, oh, this person was an ex-auditor, and in the night, this one, and they came to kill him in his house. And I'm like,
He's autopsy the audit account.
on top of this audit, we're supposed to give reasonable assurance. I mean, like, what exactly? Like, I want to see the
what is this side?
This portal audit, like, what exactly are they saying? So that's why I started growing interest for audit. Like, okay, what exactly about audit that is making people say, oh, this is stressful, this is scary?
I think it's more scary than stressful the way it was painted.
Yeah, it was very scary. Like, how you could lose your life. I mean, like, you could lose, and they'll say, oh, you could lose your license. They can just come and close down
I know that license was a thing. You know, I was in tax too.
Yeah,
so
and all of those things. So I was like, okay, let's what's it about audit? So I started to, read more about audit and study people, just what auditors, get to see if I could be a mentee to people who were already in that field and just get to, and thankfully there was one in my church who was an auditor. So I started getting close to her, asking her questions, and then she was like, okay, if you really want to, you should actually go for it. And
there's a lesson there. I love that you mentioned church, because people will be sending DM online, can you mentor me? And there is a mentor sitting in their church or their mosque or their neighborhood. Right? So sometimes it doesn't have to be someone online.
And also leverage relationships. So my parents are pastors, and then they just have a wealth of people, and then they ask, well, how are your children? Oh, you have. And my parents are very vocal about the success of their children, even though we sometimes tell them like, okay. But they're like, oh, she's an economist and she's an accountant. So like automatically, I feel like, oh, really?
Yeah, what are you doing now? Where are you want to do?
And all of this. So of course, people just say and then say showing interest. So people are like, oh, work here, do this, do that, do this exam, do this thing. So there were a number of persons who were very interested in my career and were able to give that advice, or at least some form of guidance to say, okay, stay on this path, apply to these places, in 10 years, do these things, read up on these things, do this course. So just to give some form of guidance as to what to do. So of course, when I applied, I told my mentor, and she still mentors me till now. I mean, every time I have something, I go to her to ask questions. So I told her, so, okay, this is it. And she's like, yeah, sure, no problem, go for it. So I applied, I did a test, and a number of tests, and then went for the interviews, and got through. And then we got the email.
Congratulations! How did you feel?
Yeah.
Finally.
I mean, I was very ready. I told my parents, and I think when the letter came out, I did if I'm going to say, it will probably be the most, the craziest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And the riskiest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
You want to say it on camera?
Yeah. And I don't think I actually told my parents what I did.
No, they're not going to watch this.
But there was a time frame to collect our letters that day, and it was raining. It was raining heavily, and I'm like, I was running late. So I took a bike. Then that was when there was Gokada.
Oh my God.
I took a bike
Sanwo-Olu.
from Ikeja on that bridge, that's Conway filling station to Obalende.
Wow.
In the rain. It was raining heavily.
That this letter, I must collect it today.
And you know what? Even the bike man was like, when he dropped me, it was like,
man, whatever you're chasing, I hope
like,
it was.
This is risky. I mean, this guy was speeding on Third Mainland
Inside
rain.
Wow.
But I got there in time, I got my letter, and I'm like, oh, congratulations, your resume is today. So, of course, I resumed work. Of course, before I resumed, they said, oh, when you get to work, do this, do that.
Yeah, so there was different advice.
Of course, different advice. And I got in. Of course, it was a different place from where I was coming from. So
the structure.
there was a bit of culture shock to say, I mean, you're on first name basis. So there's nothing like sir, ma. Even though now some people try to say boss, sir, then it was first name basis. So it was very weird for a properly brought up Yoruba girl.
Who is it? Pastor's child?
Exactly.
You know, at that part.
So, I mean, you're used to say, oh, good
morning, ma. Well done, ma. Good evening, ma. Mr. Bao. You just call it?
No, I mean, like, if you can.
Yeah,
like almost saying daddy, mommy.
I'm bending. See, she's bending, guys. She's still bending.
So it was very strange you're saying this person looks like they're going to be 50 in the next 3 years. So if you do the math, I'm supposed to call you
your name.
By your name, like. But I mean, after a while, it started getting better. I mean, by the time I started getting to build those relationships, it wasn't so weird to call them by their first name. Other times, you just be like, oh, can I speak with you? Just
ignore the name
You just say, oh,
part.
good morning, do you have a minute, can I talk to you? But then doing that makes it a bit less personal because now you're not acknowledging them. I know that people really like when you call their names because I know I like when you call my name. It means that you see me and you actually trying to get my attention. It's not just whoever is listening. It's not just a random thing. So because I have to get comfortable calling people by their names, and of course getting to know about the culture, how work happens, and learning things, getting to know certain things, and then you're just hearing different acronyms, different things, and you're just like, okay,
what does that mean?
What does this mean?
Where did I experience that?
And I'm like, I just arrived.
Can you guys calm down? Let me tell you what I used to do. I used to go into meetings like Jota. So when it's a SFB or RFP, I'll just write it.
Sometimes because everyone there already knows, so they're just saying different things.
And then they're moving on, so you can't even process the thoughts.
This is what it is. And then you're taking like all the assigned learnings that they've assigned to you. And those ones who are just saying this. And I'm like, okay, but while we're doing training, nobody gave us like a glossary of today, oh, these are all the terminologies, learn everything. So someone says something and like,
I'm sorry.
Apparently.
I don't understand.
I know where you're coming from. They've not to say that. So they tell you don't worry, you learn on the job. You learn on the job. I mean, people would.
But do you end up learning on the job?
No, so you actually, if you really do put yourself to it, you would learn on the job. Because the thing is, once you start doing, it becomes clearer. When we did all of those classroom activities, it looked like, okay, it felt very abstract for me because I needed to. But when I started doing work, I'm like, oh, this was what this person was explaining during the training. It's not that hard now. In training, they'll ask questions and you're like, I don't know the answer. Like, but you're doing it now. Suddenly it starts to make sense. Of course, there's that initial, it's a learning curve, so you have to go through it. Yeah. You have to just grow.
I feel like that's very important.
Exactly. You just don't get into it immediately because there are a lot of materials, there are guides in it. You need to also be familiar with the audit standards. So you need to be familiar with the audit standards and the accounting standards because remember your clients are applying accounting standards in preparing their financials, but you are now using the audit standards to audit that financials. Exactly. Yeah. So you need to know what accounting standards has been applied and they now apply the audit standards to it. So you're learning like 2 different standards. You need to understand your clients because different clients, different environments, different things, they're working in different sectors. So all of those things just have to learn through it. You have to want to read and you need to be open to learning.
I feel like you should say that again.
You must want to read really because if you are not reading, if you're not learning, if you're not consuming materials, you will most likely not. You probably will know a bit, but there's a limit to how far you can actually go.
So let's come home maybe slightly.
Okay.
If I want to be, I'm an accounting student, an economics student, finance student, even maybe a non-finance person, and I want to start a career in audit. What are like the 2 things or 3 things I should do?
Okay. So thankfully, where I work, anybody can actually come in. They don't really put too much attention on the course you studied.
So if you're watching this, I'm sorry about chemistry. You can apply.
I mean, I know someone who studied, I think, optometry or ophthalmology that came in at the same time I came in.
I even thought that you would say food science. That's most course that I do. People study, they know what they want to do.
We have people that study different courses. We don't have engineering people. People started from engineering field and then they crossed in and then they're doing well, maybe even partners. So there's really no restriction
in terms of
course that you studied.
So now that there's no restriction, what should people do?
I think first of all, interest, like your passion. If you're doing audit because of the money, you'll most likely burn out fast. So at least to a large extent, let that passion be there, that interest that you want to do this, let it be there. There's no point doing what you don't like. Trust me, because when the nights are very long, the days are short and the nights are very long, and you have a very, very tight reporting deadline, and you're like, what am I? What am I doing
in my life? Who sent me work?
This thankless job. Something like that. And it starts there. I say, okay, you know what? I actually did want to be that will keep you going sometimes. And I think build relationships. As you grow, you might say, oh, it's a work environment, I don't need people, I just want to come in, do my work and go home. But it doesn't work that way, and I think this applies for any place you find yourself. Just build that LD relationships, of course with boundaries. No understand people's boundaries and also set boundaries for yourself. It would keep your mind sane. It would keep you going healthy. But build relationships, because relationships are like their currency, and it will help you go far. And don't just build just on one line. Build top down. Don't be really scared to talk to people. In the end, when people say that you have value, they are able to. I think value responds to value. I don't know if that's how they say it, but if someone sees you and it's like, okay, though you're younger than I am, but
they see some trait of value.
Yes, they're able to pour into you. But if you're coming to them and you're just wanting to take, just asking, and you're not just giving. And when I say giving, I'm not saying oh, they send you to go and buy amala. Not that kind of giving. Give value.
Showing up from doing presentations from people.
Exactly. Can I ask, do you want to work on something? Can I help you with something? They give you some. They give you a task to do. Do it well. If you don't know how to do it, ask questions. And something I also learned, that you will never make mistakes when you ask questions. And every time I say like, oh, I want to do something myself, even though I don't know it, and I say let me just struggle, the person's like, why didn't you just ask me? I would have explained to you
this is what I
wanted. So I'm like, the what she would say is,
go and find out.
As big as you are,
you don't
as
know
old as you are, you don't know this thing. But I'm like, okay, I'm old, I don't know it. Sorry, what? Tell me the answer.
You explain to me.
You explain to me, and every time you explain to me, I won't forget. I told someone, I said, you cannot ignorant shame me, because I don't know it. I don't know it. It means I've never been exposed to it. But if you tell me now, I would know it. And I can teach other people.
Yeah,
I won't forget
not make
again.
that mistake again. Yeah.
And even if I even come back to tomorrow, it's okay, I've known it up to this point, but this remaining part, can you explain to me again? You will know that, okay, at least what I explained the last time, she took it in and then she has even applied it. So don't be scared to leverage your relationships. Ask questions, talk to people, be open. There's no crime in asking questions, really. There's just show that willingness to learn, and of course offer value. Something I always tell people: offer value, no matter how little it is, at your own, where you find yourself, whatever value it is that you can actually. Don't despise the time of little beginning. Don't say, who am I? I don't have anything. How much my salary? Say, and then you talk down. I say, okay, what is when I become a CFO? That's when I will start giving. By the time you're a CFO, those people will no longer be there, and you've not watered even the people that you're currently working with. So offer value. And then what else? I said set boundaries, ask questions,
build relationships, and offer value. I'm really delighted that you shared those very helpful advice. I loved how you referenced networking, how you talked about like both kind of networking upward and downwards. That's like very helpful, because I think that's something that people just starting out their career, have to be able to resonate with. So, I'm my manager. How has it been as a manager, especially in terms of responsibilities, in terms of also maybe comfortability now, and in terms of access? Opportunities, in ranks. Just what's life as an analyst? I mean, maybe, for example, say someone entry-level associate is watching this. Why should they keep working hard to be a manager?
Okay.
You guys can say she's very happy.
Don't quote me anywhere. But your salary will increase. As a manager.
Yeah.
But that's just very sad. Unfortunately, tipping has messed up the economy. So some of the benefits that would have usually accrued to a manager is no longer there. But first of all, I think the prestigious. That's it. Like,
I sure of guys. Yeah. Like, my friend is manager.
Being a manager, because there's no one you tell that you're a manager that will not take a double look, because they will definitely, for those that know what it takes to be a manager in a big would tell you, oh, congratulations, and celebrate you. I know that, okay, you're not just a wishy-washy person. It means that you've gone through the processes, you've gone through a thorough learning process, and your technical capabilities are not in question. So, of course, there's that comes with it. Everybody's like asking a question, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be a walking audit guide.
Yeah, you're supposed to know a lot of things.
You're supposed to know everything. You're supposed to know how to treat everything. But it's actually interesting. There's never an end to learning, so it's also not to say that you now all of a sudden rest on you, or you still keep on learning. You now have more people looking up to you, both even your junior colleagues and your senior colleagues, there's a level of expectation and quality that people expect that you should deliver on all your engagements going forward. Yeah, then in terms of responsibility, of course, your workload increases because now you're doing more, and you're not just working on maybe audit-related engagement. There are still other firm activities that will be expected of you. You still need to do certain things, and you need to be able to balance all of that effectively without also losing sight of
your daily deliverables.
deliverables.
Yeah, thanks for us answering that, and it was great clarity. So one last question before we move away from career.
Okay.
Yeah, you're still flushing about being a manager. You feel so good.
It's actually.
So I thought about 73 different ways to ask these questions because I know that Big Four has compliance frameworks. 2 pros of working with a Big Four and 1 cons. So context is, I want whoever is watching this and wants to work with a Big Four to feel inspired.
Okay.
And I also want whoever had tried to get into Big Four in the past, like me, to have something to hold on to that. Oh well, at least I did not get to Big Four.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pros of working with Big Four. I said the. No, for lack of a better word now, say the brand name.
Okay.
So there's some form of prestige that comes
Brand
with
equity.
Yeah, exactly. That comes working in Big Four. I mean, people sit on your and like, oh, you work in a Big Four. That's very good, because there's a quality that is churned out from the Big Four that it cannot be questioned. Like, no one will see it and say, oh, maybe you did something, you talked your way through, you cut corners. There's that respect that comes with working with the Big Four. You get to learn from people and with people. You're stretched beyond your capacity. I think that's one thing for me. So you work in the Big Four, and you really are not, you really don't remain the same person. If you go through it and you go through with an open mind, you experience work differently because you're faced with different kind of tasks, different responsibilities. So I think that's, for me, 2 things. I think the relationship that you get to build, and then just the name, that all Big Four, because there's a goodwill that's attached to working in any of the Big Fours, that you take it outside there and then you can actually trade it for
different other things. That's a good point.
One con about working in Big Four, sometimes it could be very stressful. Sometimes if you go on Instagram, if you're very good with Instagram and you follow Big Four accountants, you probably would have.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite accounts.
And real.
So when you get into Big Four, I actually advise that you follow the Big Four accountants. At least that page tries to face the reality.
It gives the reality. Sometimes you can just be like, especially during busy season, you're working really late hours, and sometimes you're working even around the clock, but you're working like really late. It's not really 9 to 5, it's like 9 to whenever you close. So that's
whenever you get the job done.
Yeah. So that can be a shock to say, oh, we're still working. I mean, I thought we were going to close by 5. On my letter it was 9 to 5, but then you're 5 o'clock. You're like, okay, what do you want for dinner?
They buy you dinner.
Not everybody gets you dinner. Please don't put me anywhere. But so what do you want for dinner? Then you take dinner order. I was like, oh, okay, after dinner we're going to like, okay, so that's it. Round 2 of your work. So it can sometimes be very stressful. But then if you learn early enough how to manage your time very well and do your work-life integration, not work-life balance, integration, because you really cannot. There'll always be that imbalance at every point in time. Sometimes work is on the taking more, and then your life is maybe not so. You're not seeing your friends. You're not watching your favorite dramas,
at the
and
moment,
then sometimes your work is reduced, and then you have time for other things. But just being able to integrate both so that one doesn't suffer or overly suffer in the end. So learning how to do that early in your career would really help you, and setting healthy boundaries. I cannot overemphasize it, because if you don't have boundaries, anything will go for you. And you'll be frustrated, you'll be complaining, you'll be grumbling. And you won't do good work. You won't do good work. And this person that you have a grasp with doesn't even know that you have something. You're frustrated. You're just so. Once you set boundaries, have those conversations to say, okay, I would like for this. And it's not easy. I mean, I still have one that I'm still trying to navigate,
Didn't.
but you still just practice, keep on doing it, and you'll get better. So, I mean,
That's
I'm
good.
hoping to see
I'm up.
to see you.
Yeah,
I
please
mean,
apply to Big
please
Four.
apply to Big Four.
When you're done, send me a DM. Though I'll send you who to reach out to. Great. I mean, I think that this has been a very rich conversation around career, around Big Four, around your personal education, around what people need to know about just working in Big Four. The highlights for me so far, I mean, aside the value, which I've talked about, was also just the possibility of exploring a new career in Big Four, despite whatever you studied. So,
Yes,
if
yes.
an entry level, even if you have 1 year or 2 year experience in one field, and you're just thinking,
You want to
hey, I want this. I
transition.
think that that's something you should know.
Yeah.
Okay, so away from career.
Okay.
Hi, Lagos girl.
I
Would you like to live outside Lagos? I feel like I know your answer. So if you had two options, living in Lagos or living outside Lagos for the next 10 years, for the next 5 years, let's bring it close. What would you pick?
okay. So it's too. So the living outside Lagos, is it in another state in Nigeria?
I feel
Or
like
outside
I have to work this question. I'll be specific.
or outside this country?
Because you look like everybody wants to travel now. Yeah, so it's outside Lagos, but in the country.
I've not gone to so many states in this country. I've been to just Ekiti, Osun, Ondo, Port Harcourt, and Abuja.
Okay. So would
Yeah.
you pick Lagos of all of
Those
them?
those are the only states I've been to.
Nigeria needs to work. We need to start.
Yeah,
We need to
exactly.
be able to do. One of my friends went to Ikogosi and spent 250K. And I'm like, 250K used to go to Benin and Togo. What happened to go to Benin and
Just
Togo?
to go to
No,
Kogi
like
to okay,
yeah,
just
all
for
this
the
3-day
entire,
thing. But even then, 3-day thing used to
interesting.
be like 80K.
I've not been to Kogi.
Yeah, I've not.
I'm
too.
just a very weird person. I never went to Orange Falls.
No, you're not alone, I promise.
Mm,
I didn't
so-
go. Even as an ESCO. Something always happened when
Exactly.
there were like two
There's always
freshers.
something that will just
There was one that
happen.
had a debate in the Oduduwa University, so it was either trip to
Yeah, there's always
Elisha, go to
something that will
debate.
just happen. Maybe I had one exam. For some reason,
Never. But I really want to go to Elisha though.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk off camera.
Okay, so if I wasn't going to stay in Lagos, where else would I stay? From all the states I've been to, maybe Abuja. But even with that, I probably will run back to Lagos.
I didn't know you like Lagos that much.
I mean, I just like, I don't, it's the same name is
Toxic relationship.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, don't worry. I will do an aggregation of this part. I said the so use the marketing material. Okay.
Maybe there's just, as much as Lagos is very crazy, in that old chaos, there's some form of orderliness that just comes.
With the chaos.
With the chaos,
Wow.
yes. There's still
I'm
order.
astounded.
There's order in that chaos. So it keeps me grounded. As much as I would say, oh, maybe I want to form body, there's still that
Alertness.
Exactly. You just need to be smart. You need to be alert. You need to be on your guard. So if you're going to the market, you cannot just put your bag here or put your. You need to. There's just
That's
smartness,
alertness,
this
yes.
smartness that comes to Lagos. It can also be flipped to say we are all paranoid and anxious in Lagos and whatever. But I mean, I'm mostly indoors, so I just go out when I need to go out. Maybe I don't need to. I don't really. So maybe
Relate.
that's why. But I think I would still pick Lagos over. any
fair
other
enough.
state.
So if you are not doing audits, what will you be doing?
If I wasn't doing audits, maybe something psychology related or just like I said, behavioral finance. I really like the way the human mind works. It's very fascinating. Just trying to see why would somebody do what they are doing. And what really made me even really look into behavioral finance was, how you spend money. Different people have different spending habits, and it's all based on just how our thought process.
Yeah.
So for somebody, a phone can be very important, and they spend their money on their phone. But for someone else, I don't.
Yeah, it's clothes or
It's
shoes.
clothes, perfumes.
Now that you mentioned perfume, I've only bought perfume once this year. I need to restock. Yes, due to circumstances.
I cannot relate.
I need to cover radio. I need to send. Okay, great. So not penultimate yet. A favorite movie, book that I think people should watch?
Please don't judge. Don't use my taste to make your life decisions because I have very weird taste in different things. Maybe not so weird, but I mean, I might not just be the perfect poster child for great movies and stuff. But let me start with songs. Songs that I love to listen, and I'll do two. So I'll do gospel and then
Classical.
every other bit. So for gospel music, I do love your song worship, your song youth, everything your song. I listen to your song. I love your song. But since last year, I've been doing a lot of Nigerian gospel artists. So I think like 2 weeks ago, someone introduced me to K Strings, and I've been listening to like all his songs, and I absolutely love K Strings. It sings in English, and I think it sings in Hausa.
Yeah,
So it's just like really different. I really love K Strings. I've been listening to him. So of course, listening to gospel music, you can never go wrong with any gospel artist, really. I mean, Nigerian and foreign. If I'm not doing gospel the days, I'm a child of God. I'm Jesus girl. But some days when you just want to, do something. So if I really love to listen to outside of gospel artists, I love rap. So I listen to Eminem, and then I love John Bellion. So
another John Bellion fan.
Yes, I love
That's
John
exciting.
Bellion. Yeah. So
good, congratulations. Happy John Bellion Day to Inarias.
Yes, I do Imagine Dragons.
Oh, great. So movie, books.
Oh, okay, for movies, okay, so I don't know. I watch K-dramas a lot.
Yeah.
And then every year, I renew my subscription of
renew my subscription.
Harry Potter.
Wow. I know a friend that would love to see that.
So I watch every year. I watch all 8.
Where do you watch? What platform?
So I have all the movies on my iDrive. When we used to college.
Oh my God, from uni.
About one book I think you should read, anybody. I will never tire to say it, and I think any well-meaning person would never tire to say it, is Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
I think if you wake anybody up that has like very good intentions, they would always recommend Atomic Habits. So it's something I try to read at least once a year. So it's just refresh my mind.
So 2 more questions, and the last question is for you to ask me a question.
Take that off the camera.
So my last question for you is really give any career advice to any professional, accounting, finance, etc. Just give any random advice.
Find joy in what you're doing. Really. I think 2 years ago, my career coach then asked me if I enjoyed working as an auditor. And I said yes. And she was like, wow. She was like, I think she was shocked.
Yeah.
Because like most of the time people just say, oh no,
I'm just doing it for the
bills. But like, I actually do enjoy my job. And on those days when to work is actually like very crazy. There was one time like that, and I'm like, everybody that resigned, this is exactly how they felt. I guess it's how they felt. So you know what, I can't do this anymore. But then you sleep and then you wake up and then you find the joy. You get to meet people. I mean, if you had known me like 5 years before now, I probably wouldn't be doing this because. But then work has actually forced me to talk to people, because you're talking to clients and you're talking to C-suite people, so you can't afford to be stuttering or saying, oh no, I can't talk. I mean, people are asking you questions, you need to represent, so it actually does boost your confidence. That's one thing I'm grateful for. So just find the joy, no matter how stressful it is. I mean, we can say, oh no, there's no toxic bosses. I wouldn't say stay in a toxic place, but as much as possible, find joy in what you're doing. It would just give you that
propel,
to
keep going. Thank you very much for enjoying what you're doing. Okay, so ask me a question.
After a careful concentration, I think of all the questions that is left to ask you, I finally come to one. Very simple question, but very important, right? So, Emmanuel, how are you?
That's a deliberate question to ask. So how am I? I'm going to talk about how am I in this moment. So I'm very tired, obviously, because I've had a very rough day. But I'm glad that I'm doing this with you. How am I generally? I am in motion.
Okay.
So I spend like the first 8 months of the year chasing something, and then I finally get it, and I get it in a time where other things that I've abandoned for the first 8 months of the year start creeping up. So I'm juggling a lot of things. So I'm in motion. I moved houses, I moved jobs. I'm working on some projects that pre-August, I didn't have them in mind. But then some things happened in August. I'm like, okay, it's time for me to do this. So I think I'm really stressed. But how am I also? I'm happy because I moved to apartment. I'm living alone for the first time.
Yeah.
So
When are you coming for housewarming?
I should invite you. Yeah, you should. Oh yeah, we have not had time to come, guys. Managers' responsibilities.
Jesus.
Yes, so you've not had time because I've told my call friends, and I believe you're one. Yes, so I'm very happy because one thing that this enables me to do is to bond more with my friends. We can now talk like 1 hour, 15 minutes as we did last week.
Yeah.
So I can also catch up with. I'm very happy about this. I can catch up with my friends in other time zones.
Oh,
Yeah, so my friend in the
cool.
US can call me, which is 3 a.m. my time, but we can talk like in the afternoon. I couldn't do that when I was living with my mom and my brother. Yeah, so I'm very happy. So in 3 words, I would say stressed, like because of everything that's happened today. In motion, because of all the things that are in transition in my life, but really happy because of my newfound freedom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But does it get boring sometimes?
No.
Well, when you have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so my life is never boring, literally. I am always doing something. In fact, as I'm doing some things right now, some things are on hold. And when I'm done, I would pick them back. So I can't remember the last time. When people say they are bored, I cannot relate. I cannot remember the last time I was bored. Like, I'm always doing something. If I'm not doing work, I'm doing women football. If I'm not doing women football, I'm doing something in the Korean culture. If I'm not doing something with the Korean culture, I'm writing non-fiction or poetry, or someone is inviting me to a fellowship to be a poet, mentor, or mentee or something. So I think that I live a very exciting life.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You said something I'm going to follow up on. And I'm sure you know what I'm about to ask you. It's about the Korean culture. It's very hard to see men. And then when I say men, I don't know shades. I mean, I'm not trying to be stereotyping or anything, but it's very hard to. Most guys, once you want to say Korean, all they're saying, it's only love, it's only shootings. But it's very hard to see guys that are into Korean culture. So what spurred you on, like, what was the...
Propelling. So I'm glad we are both economics. So minus the love and romance, Korean has a very strong, the word is not strong, it's study. STURDY. Study wealth transfer process. They are very keen about their businesses, about transferring their generational wealth, about building structures, and they marry all that with their culture. So my favorite Korean dramas are Korean dramas that there's an element of workplace, of organization, King the Land. So I will mention it together. Agency. Agency was a core marketing. For me, I not see any love in that movie. The only thing I was looking at was the core marketing, startup. Right. So I really like that about Korean culture.
I mean, there's that element, of course, the...
You like you watch for romance.
No, funny enough, initially it did start for the romance because of your kids, but then as you watch it, I think it was Vincenzo, where this guy was asking the guy questions about economics. I've never been
Oh my God, do you remember that economics scene? Bro, I had to. I'm like, yes.
I've never been so
excited about studying economics. That was the scene that made me watch Vincenzo.
So
it was so exciting.
It was really so exciting. So I was like, okay, beyond just the romance, and even the romance is so sweet because I mean, there's a slow burn, and I do slow burn, so I don't like.
I like American.
No, I don't like the.
Yeah,
I like
taking
to
it
get
to the bar, and then you end up in your bed.
So I like to get to know somebody. We talk. I get to know it. I like that all of that process. So for me, it really resonates with what I really want in love, or what I.
That's beautiful. Oh, so cute. Anyway, thank you guys. She has taken us to the land I do not know. But thank you guys for staying so far. If you stayed so far, I am very sure that if you have the dreams of working in a big four or really any finance industry, you have picked a lot of lessons enough to apply. If you have any question, I will put her LinkedIn profile downwards. And if you have any further question, I'm very sure she will not mind you connecting with her on LinkedIn. Yeah, on LinkedIn. Yes. Till the next time you see my very handsome face with another handsome or beautiful guest, like, subscribe, share. If you are not a finance person, share with someone that's a finance person. I still to start career in finance or tax or audit. Share your church community. You heard I mention church. Share your church community, your mosque community, your exes, your fellowship, everywhere. Share. Till the next time you see my handsome face, Emmanuel Faith.